Hi everyone, we're Ask-EHR. So the problem we're looking to solve is a real-life, everyday clinical problem that literally all doctors face throughout the day, which is trying to find relevant clinical information from electronic health records. EHRs contain a wealth of information, really important information, that we as doctors need to go through and search for the answer to our query relevant to that patient. Research has shown that doctors lose half a day per week just searching for information, and that leads to delays in seeing patients, delays to diagnosis, and increasing waiting times. So we've come up with this, there's a slide telling you what I've just said. We've come up with a solution that Malay is going to speak about.
So what's the solution? So what we've come up with is a chat box that integrates with the existing electronic health record, and this will allow the clinician to ask specific questions to the electronic health record and receive very rapid answer to this query. And this example you can see are some of the examples that clinicians can ask the system.
So we want to show a live demo of this. So let me come out of this, and we've got, so our very talented team have created a piece of software along with some user interface that will integrate with EHRs as a chatbot, and you can type in whatever question you want. So for example, setting the scene, patient comes in with seizures, still unconscious, daughter says he's been on some drugs, some didn't work. So as a doctor, I'm like, what drug should I start? Which ones are going to work? Do I have time to go through their 400 clinical records to find the answer? No. I want to find it out now so I can see the patient, sort them out, get onto one of the 70 in the waiting room. So I'm just going to write list the epilepsy drugs, the doses, the drug changes, and why they were changed. Let's see what it comes up with. So we know that he was on 4 drugs. We know why, we know the doses, we know that the carbamazepine was changed to levetiracetam because of seizure control, poor seizure control. We know that there was a change to lamotrigine because of intolerance to levetiracetam side effects. What were levetiracetam's side effects? Great, so I'm not going to start levetiracetam, I'm going to go to the next best drug. That is what I'm trying to achieve. That's not possible at the moment. It's unbelievable. So now we're going to talk about how we did this.
So in terms of how we would integrate this, so an electronic health record has a mix of PDFs, it can have a mix of structured data, or it can have photos of files or documents that a clinician has written, which is quite common. So what we would do, if the slide comes up, is for the images in the electronic health record, we would implement an OCR model that essentially reads the image and turns it into structured data. And what we've done in this demo is, well, there's a detail if you want it, we've taken it from the point as if the data is already structured. So we would do that process of making all of the electronic health data structured, and then we've made a dummy data set that would mimic exactly what would come out of that and put it in for this example.
So I'm going to explain what we do with the structured data set. Now this flow diagram is very busy, I know, but it's really just to illustrate what's going on behind the scenes. So we take the structured data, we chunk it into various relevant sections, and then we store it in a vector database. And when the clinician asks a question, we then run a search against that database. It retrieves the relevant chunks, and this is the important bit. You're getting referenced responses. The LLM only gets involved in summarizing the content of those chunks that have been retrieved. So I know people are worried about hallucinations. This is really trying to mitigate against using LLMs too much, and just making sure that we're coming up with a referenced response for the clinician.
So this is a very high-level overview of considerations of
so just so that we can all sort of see you. Leave that up, good idea.
Sorry, no, it was the last one, just so as we could see.
Okay, great.
Would have been spoken about.
Yeah.
Great. So, some questions? Any questions? Paul, you go first.
From my experience working as a doctor in the NHS, incredibly useful tool. What do you think are some of the main challenges of actually using this in practice? I can think of 2 main challenges that really stand out to me, so I'd be interested to get
What do you think the challenges might be?
In terms of deploying it in like a real clinical
Yes,
scenario,
yeah.
there's a lot of unstructured data that comes with PDFs, a lot of medical information. Clinical notes are represented in that. It's difficult to pass those. That would be one main thing I could think of. Another one is obviously the safety aspect, so really validating it in a non-clinical scenario first of all, and fine-tuning the model. We're using a general purpose LLM. We would want to use like a specifically trained on medical knowledge base essentially, or even better like fine-tune our own.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll add to that integrating with EHR.
Yes.
Integrating.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't ask them that, what do you think would be, but yes.
Just a quick note, in order to increase reliability, you can add the links to the documents where it got the answers from.
Yes.
So I didn't
Yes,
mention that, it does that.
It does.
Thank
Oh,
you, good
sorry,
point.
yes,
Yeah.
instances, yeah.
And we've got time for one more question. Well, okay. Put your hand up. Yeah. Who is it? Yeah.
I think I'm going to make you very happy because I'm going to ask this question. How would you go about the kind of piloting and validation process? What sort of tests would you be putting it through?
So yeah, you're integrating with your stakeholders and engaging with them, running pilot studies, assessing the feedback, and using your stakeholders then to inform and improve the process.
I think we'd also develop a ground truth, and that would be used to test against the validity of the responses.
Great. Thank you very much.